Good morning. Today we'll be diving into the Wells Fargo scandal, which was a disconcerting episode that exposed unethical practices within the bank, specifically the unauthorized creation of millions of accounts. So, before we explore the scandal, let's understand the rich history of Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is founded in 1852 when Henry Wells and Williams J. Fargo, along with several other investors, founded a financial and express service company in New York City. The company was initially named Wells Fargo and Co., and it was established to provide banking and express services to the rapidly growing West American part of the nation. So, during this time, the California gold rush was at its full swing, and the demand for reliable banking and express service in the West was super high. So Wells Fargo started to quickly expand its operation, opening offices in certain key areas of the western frontier. So Wells Fargo played a crucial role at the time, and it helped develop American West by facilitating what I mentioned before, by trading, commerce, and the movement of people. So before we talk about the scandal and what led to the scandal, Wells Fargo enjoyed a decade of remarkable financial success, becoming the most valuable bank globally in 2015. So, however, this success would be overshadowed by a significant crisis. Before all this, I would also like to highlight the bank financial performance, which was top notch. Then they had stock market success, which was a huge thing back then, and it's still a huge thing today. And that's really great to see in a bank. So let's talk about Wells Fargo's success that was attributed to its diversified business segment, like including community banking, wholesale banking, and wealth and investment management. Each played a crucial role in bank growth. Thank you.
The cross-selling strategy was a key component of Wells Fargo's success. Cross-selling refers to the process of marketing products and services to uh, current customers rather than trying to recruit new clients. Um, and while it increased customer reliance and revenue, it also laid the groundwork for the unethical behavior that unfolded later. Employees of Wells Fargo attested that because there was such a huge emphasis placed on meeting their sales quotas, that many of them resorted to opening unauthorized accounts rather than being reprimanded by authority figures in the company. The success of Wells Fargo started to unravel when the extreme emphasis on cross-selling quotas being met put a heavy burden on their employees. More than 2 million unauthorized accounts were opened between 2011 and 2015 by Wells Fargo employees. In 2013, an investigative article was released by the Los Angeles Times, and a private company was hired by Wells Fargo in 2015 to analyze all the accounts that were open between 2011 and 2015. The discovery of these unauthorized accounts triggered investigations and subsequent congressional hearings, and it brought light to the depth of the issue that and the need for accountability. Consequences were inevitable for something of such a large proportion. Regulatory bodies started to impose fines, and Wells Fargo's stocks faced a significant blow. The initial responses from the bank's leadership were crucial in managing fallout. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau fined the company a combined $185 million as a result of the illegal activity. And the company faced additional civil and criminal suits reaching an estimated $2.7 billion by the end of 2018. Stock prices dropped over 10% after the scandal came to light, and Stumpf, the bank CEO, said that Wells Fargo had fired over 5,000 employees who had opened accounts without customer permission, and the bank had refunded $2.6 million of wrongfully charged fees. As we reflect on the scandal, it highlights the importance of corporate governance. The lessons learned are shaping reforms within Wells Fargo, and as they strive to rebuild trust and move forward. To address the concerns of the community, the bank has formed a sort of watchdog advisory council with independent directors. Additionally, the bank has donated almost $9 million to over 400 nonprofits and schools. And after such a terrible scandal, Wells Fargo decided that a small rebranding was needed to restore the trust.
So now we're going to get into some of the questions that were asked at the end of this case study. Starting with question 1, it says, describe the unauthorized customer accounts referenced in the title of the case. So what did the bank and his employees do? Which stakeholders were helped and which were harmed by these actions? So those unauthorized customer accounts referring to Wells Fargo's employees opening over 2 million checking and credit card accounts without customers' consent between the years 2011 and 2015. The bank and its employees then engaged in a fraudulent practice, harming customers who unknowingly had unauthorized accounts and damaging the trust of shareholders to the public. Question 2 says, do you believe that Wells Fargo demonstrated an ethical corporate culture? Why or why not? And in our response, we were to consider both the formal ethics policies of the bank and the ethical leadership as modeled by its senior executives and board of directors. So our answer to this was no. Wells Fargo did not demonstrate an ethical corporate culture. Despite the formal ethics policies, the bank's emphasis on aggressive cross-selling created a high-pressure environment that led to unethical behaviors. Senior executives and the board failed to address the issue promptly, which indicated a lack of ethical leadership. So then question 3 had us to describe cross-selling. What were the benefits of cross-selling to the bank and its shareholders? In what ways did cross-selling contribute to problems that Wells Fargo later faced? So that cross-selling is the practice of marketing additional products to existing customers. These benefits for the bank included increased customer reliance, higher revenue from each customer, and operational efficiency. However, aggressive cross-selling contributed to the unauthorized account scandal by pressuring employees to meet unrealistic quotas. So then we get question 4, which is, if you were an employee of Wells Fargo and felt pressured to cross-sell to customers, even when you felt this was inappropriate, what would we have done? So if pressured to cross-sell inappropriately, I feel like we discussed and we would have followed the recommended process outlined in Wells Fargo's Code of Ethics and Business Conduct by reporting concerns to our managers, our HR advisors, or the Office of Global Ethics and Integrity. So if that yielded no results, we said that we would use the bank's ethics hotline to report the misconduct. These next few questions and the end will be done by Fritz.
For number 5, did Wells Fargo respond appropriately to employees who voiced their concerns about unauthorized accounts? What should it have done differently? Wells Fargo did not respond appropriately to employees voicing concerns about unauthorized accounts, as evidenced by the retaliation faced by whistleblowers. The dismissal of employees who reported unethical practices contradicted the bank's illicit non-retaliation policy. For question number 6, looking at the case as a whole, what steps would you recommend Wells Fargo, its senior managers, and its board of directors do now to prevent such events from occurring again in the future? To prevent such events in the future, Wells Fargo should strengthen its ethical corporate culture by revising incentive structures, emphasizing a customer-centric approach over aggressive sales goals, and fostering an environment where employees feel comfortable reporting unethical behavior without fear of retaliation. Senior managers and board should conduct thorough and independent investigations into allegations, ensuring swift and appropriate action. Regular ethics training and transparent communication strategy can rebuild trust with stakeholders. Thank you for listening to our presentation about Wells Fargo's unauthorized customer accounts.